All right, you guys, we're gonna do a cable pull through with a hip thrust. Now, I'm just gonna warn you, these are awkward moves. It's kind of like the adductor and the abductor machine. You're gonna wanna scope out who's to the gym before you get up to the bar to do this, because it is a little awkward moving. The first time I did it, I was laughing. I had a couple gestures or a couple jokers in the gym who knew me well enough that they thought it was a funny joke to joke around with me about it. So just know that. But I'm telling you, the payoff is phenomenal. Okay, this is a really great way to put a huge load on our posterior chain without putting the weight of the load on our posterior chain. So what I mean is when we do deadlifts and we go really heavy, when we do barbell squats and we go really heavy, obviously that's a lot of compression in our spine, right? So when we do these cable pull throughs, we can load that up really heavy like we like to in our deadlifts without the compression in the spine. Second, these are wonderful for the hamstrings and the glutes. Really, 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 really good glute move. If you do them correctly, so I'm going to walk you carefully through the cueing of this so we know that you're doing it correctly. If you're not, you're not going to get your glutes. You're going to get your quads a little bit, and it's going to be awkward, and it's just going to feel weird. More weird and more awkward than it will if you're doing it right. So this is what you're going to, this is one of the reasons we do it, is because it really hits the hamstrings and the glutes really well, and that underbutt, you know, the little part where our hamstring separation, our glute separation are at, that makes our butt up and nice and perky. This is a great way to hit it. Hit it really heavy, and that's one of the keys, is because we can load this really heavy while hitting that area of our body. So what you're going to do is you're going to, if you're doing this at home, you're going to grab your bands and you're going to put the attachment on the door right about a little bit lower than knee level. That's key. If you're at the gym, you're going to go up to the cable machine and you're going to put this, right, again, move the pins down to right about, right below knee level, mid-calf knee level. Then you're going to stand facing away from the machine, okay? So the machine is behind me, I'm facing this way. You're going to have the rope is the easiest one, the rope attachment, or you can use the D handles as well, the D-ring handles. If you have bands, that's most likely what you'll be using. But this is one of the important cues. I do not want to hold the rope up here where I'm really tight and rigid in my arms. Actually, I'm going to hold it right here. My arms are relaxed. I just have the natural bend in my elbow and my arms are relaxed. I'm not holding or pulling this weight with any part of my arms or my upper body. The only thing they're doing is holding on to the attachment, okay? Not pulling, not rigidly holding it up in front of me, not cutting myself in half with the rope, just relax as much as I possibly can in front of my body, okay? Second, this is really important. This is a strict hip hinge movement, meaning we're not bending at the knees like a squat. We're just hinging at the hips. So all that cueing that I've given you up to, learning how to squat correctly, the first movement, the activation is the hinge of the hips, where we're just pushing, driving our hips backward. That is the movement to a T. If you have done kettlebells with me, or if you've done kettlebells in the past, you know how to do them correctly. It is the same movement pattern. So you're gonna have wide legs, your toes are gonna be turned out. I like mine turned about 45 degrees, not quite as wide as like a sumo. And you're going to drive your hips back. So all we're doing is pushing our hips back, and we're not bending our knees at all. We're not locking out the knees. Keep your knees a little soft. So they'll just be the natural bend in your knee, but you're not bending your knees like a sumo squat, okay? So just hip hinge back, and then you're going to thrust your hips forward and squeeze those glutes as hard as you can. That's the movement pattern. You're gonna be holding the rope here. So the great thing about this is it's a very similar movement pattern to a kettlebell swing, but one, we're not gonna be using the upper body as much as, even though we try not to use it in a kettlebell swing, as far as pulling, it still is used a lot more for that load. This load is really going to be isolated on our glutes. That's a huge benefit. Two, we can load it up really, really heavy, much heavier than we can with a kettlebell swing, because the movement is slow and controlled, not explosive. Now, it will be explosive here, But it's not the same explosion as a kettlebell swing where we have to worry about our joints and stuff, moving that heavy weight up in front of our body. And so it gives us the benefits of really giving a lot of resistance to the glutes so we can really build them without all the compression of the spine, without having to worry about hurting your back with a heavy load swinging it in front. So it is just a wonderful move if you can get over the embarrassment of the gym of what it's going to look like. So, and I encourage you to. It's written in your program, so you got to do it. So here we go. You're going to walk over to your door frame if you're doing this with bands, or to the cable machine if you're doing this at a gym, or if you have a home gym machine like I do. And you're going to grab your cables. Now notice my elbows are just naturally bent. I'm not pulling them up here, okay? They're just the natural relaxed bent. Pull the cable between my legs. I'm just standing forward. I got my knees are soft but not bent, and and I'm pulling forward, right? So now all I'm going to do is just keeping my neck nice and neutral, my shoulders down and back, my core nice and tight. I'm just going to hinge at the hip, and depending on how flexible you are in your hamstrings will dictate how far back you can go. But if you're only this flexible, you're just going to go to the end of the reach of your hamstrings. So let's say you're here, and then once you're here, you're going to push through the heels and explode up. You're going to go back down, push through the heels and explode up. Squeezing that butt. Now, it's not just here, we're going to thrust forward. So now I'm pushing back to the wall here in the hip hinge. That's all I'm doing is pushing my hips back, and then I'm slamming them forward to the wall in front of me. And back and forward, squeezing that butt as much as I can. So there you go, you guys. There is your cable pull through hip hinge or hip thrust, whichever you want to call it. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of silly bloopers in this video.